Hi there, Mary. My name is Ellen. I'll be correcting this set of essays for you. So let's take a look straight away and see what you wrote. I think this is the uh, English and Homestay letter. So let's see what you wrote here. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Williams, Helen and I became friends when she visited Nigeria last year, September, for her most recent tour, and I gladly accepted her offer when she proposed that I stay over at her parents' for an upcoming program. My name is Mary Ayodele from Lagos, Nigeria, and I intend to spend about 2 weeks at your home in England for an English and homestay program I recently enrolled for. I pray I am welcome. Okay, so um, let's see. Um, so it's okay. I don't know how to phrase exactly what it is I'm trying to say. There is a general kind of way that we write this letter, and I felt like you kind of missed the mark a little bit. So there's a lot of unnecessary detail here about this like thing with Helen, and she said, "Oh, go stay with my parents for this program." So a lot of this just seems a little irrelevant, a little unnecessary. You just need to do in this first opening paragraph a couple of things. You need to say, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Williams, I'm writing you regarding the English and Homestay program, which I have recently enrolled in, which has me staying at your family home. Prior to my visit, I would like to introduce myself to you, etc., etc. And then you can say who you are. My name is this, and I do this, etc. Okay, so that's really all this needs to be about. Okay, so you say that, they're the family you'll be staying with for the English and homestay, and then you say you want to introduce yourself, and you say a few things about yourself, and that's it. So I felt like some of this was a little unnecessary, a little off the mark, and so that's how I would change it. Um, Let's see. I gladly accepted her offer when she proposed that I stay over at her parents for an okay. So I just felt like a lot of this was a little awkward. I mean, at her parents, but you're talking to her parents, so that just felt a little strange to me. And then this was fine here. So yeah, I would get rid of this sentence and replace it with something like I was discussing. We don't really use this expression, I pray I am welcome. I mean, it's English and Homestay program. These people have agreed to be your homestay family, so you don't even have to say that, okay? So let's move on. Now, I can tell you one thing that concerns me about your next paragraph, and it's your use of bullets. You're not supposed to use bullets in IELTS, where it's you're supposed to use straight paragraphs. Okay, so this is going to mark you down for sure. All right. Um, you need to do everything in paragraph form and not in bullets. So let's see what you wrote. During my stay, I look forward to visiting my wish list tourist locations such as the Queen's Palace and Disneyland. If it is not too much to ask, please oblige me responses to the inquiries below. Okay, maybe please provide me responses would have been a little more natural. Let's see. What are the options? What options are available for commuting? This would afford me the opportunity uh, of being aware of their schedule and avoid missing trips. What is the current weather situation? This would help plan my take along clothes. We don't really say that. This would help plan. I don't know what clothes I will select to bring with me. That would be better. Also, to aid budgeting, please give me an estimate of how much I will need for transportation. Okay. So I already told you that bulleted lists are not really permitted. That will definitely get your score down for coherence and cohesion because it's not a full paragraph. But apart from that, what you did here is you used some language that I really don't think is appropriate here. This is a formal letter. You've never met these people before, and so you definitely want to lean for formal rather than informal. So What that means is you want to avoid this use of direct questions, at least to some extent. And instead you want to use indirect questions, which tend to seem more formal. So rather than saying what options are available for commuting, you could have said, right, so please provide me responses to the following. Firstly, could you tell me what options are available for commuting? This would afford me the opportunity, etc., etc. And then next, I would like to know the current weather situation. All right, again, that's an indirect question. And then the last one was fine. Okay, so you really just need to set all of that in paragraph form with the appropriate linkers, and it would have been okay. Whilst I look forward to your response, please note that I already made my flight bookings and should arrive on the 20th of June, etc., etc. It will be my utmost pleasure to meet with your daughter Helen again and spend quality time together. Okay, like I said, not entirely relevant, but all right, whatever, it's fine. And then yours sincerely, the S should be lowercase. You need a comma after this, and the rest of it is fine. So you've got some nice things happening here, Mary. But there are some little spots that work like this. Again, remember no bullets. Remember, a lot of this information just felt kind of strange, kind of like not what it's supposed to be talking about. You're part of this English program called English and Homestay, which essentially means that um, you'll be staying in people's houses that you don't know while attending some sort of English language program. So this whole thing about your friend just felt a little off to me. All right, let's move on. And then let's see what you said about this. This is the ex-prisoner essay. It is often argued that experience is the best teacher, and I could not agree more based on personal experiences. An example is that of previous inmates who turn out as better citizens and can share learnings from their experiences with the younger generation, especially as it relates to crime and its associated penalties. This essay discusses the pros of teaching youngsters from experienced adults. All right. This might be what the essay discusses, but this is not 100% what you've been asked to write. The question asks if ex-prisoners are the best people to talk to youngsters about crime. So the best people, that's what you need to be focusing on, not just the pros of this method, but it's a far more specific question. Do you think that out of all the people who could talk to youngsters to help them avoid crime, the ex-prisoners are the best? And this is what you need to be focusing on. So right away, this is a red flag that you're, talking about the topic, but not really answering exactly what you're supposed to be answering. All right, so that's one thing. And then, like I said, some of this just felt a little awkward to me. So let's continue. Moving to the next paragraph. Teenagers are often inquisitive and can imagine scenarios that require experience and sound judgment to adequately address such inquiries. Which inquiries? I don't understand that. In other words, having an ex-inmate provide tutelage on what constitutes a crime and the penalties that may ensue will in no small measure provide a robust learning storehouse to avoid such situations in future. For example, a child who has witnessed an adult jailed for years due to murder, either accidentally or intentionally, will avoid such to a larger degree than one who has only read of the sanctions for committing murder. Let's see. Okay. I mean, I understood all of this. I don't really understand this first sentence, though, or how it fits. But let's continue. It is highly likely that ex inmates who have turned a new leaf can identify traits tending towards unethical behavior in younger ones, thereby taking active steps to guide the youngster appropriately. For example, a child who refuses to show commitment to learning might result in unhealthy practices. You can't say the youngster results in an unhealthy practice. Let's say, um, for example, when a child refuses to show commitment to learning, this might result in unhealthy practices later in life in order to meet financial needs. When such behavior is suspected, a guided learning approach can be deployed to ensure the mistake is not replicated without being aware of the consequences, which can include showing scars, relating experiences, or going down the memory lane to drive the message home. Okay, let me read that again a little bit. Let's just go straight to conclusion. We'll talk a little bit more about this, okay? So, to conclude, a child will pick useful tips to stay out of trouble if passed on from an experienced adult rather than one with theoretical knowledge. This theory may be exploited to reduce crime rates within the society, especially amongst young adults. Okay, that was good. One of the things that I thought was really interesting here is that there was no linking device. There was nothing at all here. So it just felt kind of in certain places a little choppy. So one thing you should know is that these front position markers, like here in other words, for example, you don't want to use too many of them. Okay. Um, but at the same time, you do need to use them on occasion. And here I felt like you needed something. I mean, you're transitioning from one paragraph to another, and you needed something there. Let's see. What else did I want to tell you about that? I mentioned to you earlier, this wasn't about the pros of ex-convicts teaching youngsters, but why they are the best people to do this. You kind of hinted at this here in your conclusion when you said they can learn better like this than from one with just theoretical knowledge. But I wanted to see that actually in your body paragraphs. That's where you really needed to make these kinds of comparisons. And that's where it would have gotten you potentially a higher task achievement score. Um, let's see. I did feel like some of the language was awkward. I already know that I talked to you about that it just felt a little unnatural in certain places. So maybe you could have simplified a little bit, which would have made it a little more effective. So I definitely see some good things happening in your writing. I mean, you've got some great grammar in lots of places. I thought a couple of your sentences were a little too long. Like, take a look at this one. You can see that it's like a sentence that's 3 lines long. You really want to avoid those sentences. You did have a few of them actually. So maybe that's where part of the problem came in. Take a look at this. Um, this is 3 lines long. And then here you've got another one, 3 lines. Okay. And then this is, well, it's essentially 2 lines. But yeah, I mean, I think you could have maybe, definitely here for sure, shortened this up a little bit, made them more manageable for your reader. Sometimes a couple of things happen when you write sentences that are long. First of all, the meaning gets lost because there's so much information. It's like this winding road that the reader kind of gets lost in what you're trying to say. The second problem that happens is that it's much easier to make a grammatical mistake. So, yes to complex sentences. We want sentences that have complex grammar, but we want to say no to sentences that are a little complicated. And that's what happens sometimes when you have these really long sentences. There were a couple that were a little longer than I would have liked. So, clearer writing, more natural writing for sure, and also really kind of grabbing the topic, this idea of being the best people rather than just like, oh, this is a good idea. Those are the things that I really would have liked to see here. Maybe some better transitions here, and less choppiness. Maybe writing that flows a little better from one idea to the next. So I'd like to see more of your writing. I'd like to see what you're writing on different topics, and I'd like to continue working with you if you found this feedback helpful. Take a look and see from the email you get from us what would work best for you. I hope we can continue to work together. So best of luck to you.